Bill Maher of HBO's Real Time is in a bit of a controversy. On Friday, he used the N-word and is receiving pretty widespread backlash for it. And the backlash is justified. He should not have said what he said, but there is a double standard here. If this had been a right-winger with a show who did this, I believe liberals would have been calling for his head. Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse was on the show. It was one of those one-on-one segments that Bill Maher does earlier in the program. And they were talking about Halloween. Senator Ben Sasse says something about, oh, Nebraska would love to have Bill Maher work in the fields. And here is what Bill Maher said in response.
Be a kid thing.
It's not anymore?
Not out here. No, adults dress up for Halloween. They don't do that in Nebraska?
It's frowned upon. Yeah, we don't do that quite as much. But
wow, I got to get to Nebraska more.
You're welcome. We'd love to have you work in the fields with us.
Work in the field?
That's part of that. That's...
Senator, I'm a house nigga. No, it's a joke.
It wasn't funny. It really didn't make that much sense. It was obviously off the cuff. It wasn't even really like a politically incorrect joke. I just didn't find it funny. And Bill Maher issued a statement through his publicist apologizing. The word was offensive and I regret saying it and am very sorry. HBO called it inexcusable and tasteless. And they're basically right. Now, some people are saying, oh, you know what? Progressives are going easy on Bill Maher and they're not criticizing him because he's a liberal. And they're saying if Bill Maher had been a conservative host in that situation, everyone would be furious. And that's a double standard. And therefore, Bill Maher should lose his show. I don't think Bill Maher should lose his show. I don't agree with Bill Maher's usage of the N-word here. It came across sounding racist and he shouldn't have done it. But I think that anyone is understandably going to interpret this differently than if a conservative with a history of working against racial justice had said it. Bill Maher has spent his entire career denouncing racism. And I personally feel totally confident saying, I don't think Bill Maher is a racist because he said this word. And he is a comedian who's known for pushing the envelope and saying things that are controversial. I'm not defending him saying this, okay? I think it was stupid and inappropriate. And there probably is a discrepancy in how progressives are reacting because it was Bill Maher and not Jeff Sessions or whoever. But I also think that this does not mean Bill Maher is personally someone who thinks less of black people by virtue of them being black.
I just think that because there's been this sort of reclamation of the N-word within some members of the black community, particularly sometimes comedians, that other comedians who perhaps are white or just not black may try to push the envelope and say it themselves.
Sure.
And it's just not in good taste.
No, it really wasn't funny. When I watched it, I didn't say, wow, that's a really funny joke, and I can see how some people might be upset by it. It really just wasn't funny. So listen, bottom line, I don't think it was okay. I don't think it would be right to end the career of Bill Maher for this, but it probably should end the career of someone like Jeff Sessions, right? If you look at Jeff Sessions and his history of what he advocated for and the concerns around racism when he failed to be confirmed for a judgeship decades ago and blah, 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 if all of a sudden he said something like this, it's perfectly fair to react differently than if Bill Maher says it. I wouldn't have expected this from Bill Maher, although you can kind of tell that he doesn't think about what he's saying sometimes. This seemed to me frivolous, comedically unnecessary, and really, white people shouldn't be using the N-word, and he was right to apologize, even though he basically phoned in the apology. It was emailed to his publicist or something like that. But I think the real crime here is that it really just wasn't good comedy. Today's episode of The David Pakman Show is made possible in part by Warby Parker eyeglasses. Warby Parker recently did the right thing and ditched advertising on right-wing conspiracy website Breitbart, pulling their ads off. And you can get the free 5-day home try-on from Warby Parker. Check out their glasses. I use them when I'm not wearing contact lenses. I started with the free at-home trial. They send you 5 pairs of glasses. You see which ones you like, you send them back, and whichever one you pick, they will put your prescription into. I like this because I can actually show the glasses to other people and not have to just decide on the spot like in an eyeglass store. The eyeglass industry is controlled by very few corporations that keep the prices very, very high, even over $300 for prescription glasses. With Warby Parker, they start at just $95. Mine costs that, including lenses. And for every pair sold, they give a pair to someone in need. So to try the 5 pairs and support the David Pakman Show, go to warbyparkertrial.com/TDPS.